Hey everyone, I'm Travis Wright, and you're listening to I'm a Fan Of, your show for music, comedy, and more. As always, if you are a musician, a comedian, or just someone that does something interesting, please reach out to me on Instagram at TravisCanListen. You can find me on Facebook at I'm a Fan Of, or you can reach out to me through the website at I'mAFanOfPod.com. Of course, if you just enjoy the show, please follow me there as well, and like and subscribe to the podcast. Before we get into this episode, a quick reminder, we have Lawrence Rosales and his comedy special, his live comedy taping coming up. That's going to be at Dallas Hyenas Comedy Club on October 26th. The tickets are free. You just need to go to the website and make a reservation. That's the website of the comedy club, Hyenas Dallas Comedy Club. Go to their website, make a reservation. We want to sell this thing out. We want to pack it out. This is going to be a first for me and for I'm a Fan Of. This is the first comedy special we're doing. We're going to try to get something really amazing, and I would love for you to be there on the very first go of this so that as I continue to make more, as we continue to get more comics coming through and doing more specials, you'll be able to say you were there from the beginning. So please, again, go to the website, make a reservation, and hopefully we'll see you October 26th. Moving on, we've got a band in the studio, and for those of you watching the video, I've got to put on my sunglasses, and I've got to go in honor of our band, Jane Leo. We've got to turn everything to black and white in 3, 2, 1. That's more like it. This band is so freaking cool. I don't know if you've heard of them before. If you have, awesome. Glad you're here and you're going to check out this interview. If you haven't, it is a great combination of a band that I absolutely love, Leopold and his Fiction, and the lead person of that is Daniel Leopold. He has teamed up with another artist, Jane Ellen Bryant, who also happens to be his significant other. And she had her own solo project going on, but they have combined and been working on music for about 4 to 5 years now, and they released an album, a self-titled album, just this year, 2023. It's phenomenal. Leopold and his Fiction, and Jane Ellen Bryant kind of have their own thing going on, but the merging of it has created something really, really cool. I do a full in-depth music review and show some of my favorite songs from the album, so please go check that out as well. But I really, really love where this band is going. I think there's a special spark with it, and I think if you listen to the music, you're going to really love it. And more importantly, I think if you go to a live show, you're going to be even more captured by what they do. The music's fantastic. They're both phenomenally talented, and it sounds just more original than a lot of the stuff that's coming out right now. And I think, in my opinion, there's a lot of really original, cool music that somehow goes unnoticed in this day and age because we're so saturated with things. So I hope you take time to go through the interview. I hope you take time to listen to the music review and then go to their Spotify, check out all the tunes and see what you like yourself, because I think they're a band that you're really, really going to love. They were kind enough while they were in town on tour, when they were coming through Dallas before their show, they stopped in the studio and I got to chat with them about, of course, music, all those types of things. And then as well as some, quirkier stuff, like the fact that apparently Daniel is a bit of a foodie and is a bit of a Yelp reviewer, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And we dip into a little bit of his personal life, what it's like to be kind of a rock star who's also a parent and, raising a child and how all those things kind of incorporate into normal life, which I always find fascinating as someone who loves music and comedy, and I have a child myself. So I easily could have talked to them for much longer, but they had to jet out to a sound check and go play, an awesome show at the House of Blues. They have been on tour just playing to bigger and bigger and bigger crowds. It seems like anytime they can get in front of an audience or a set of ears, they just gain more fans, and I hope that's the case today. So let's quit talking about it. Let's just get right into the interview. This is Jane Leo. The I'm a Fan Of podcast, music, comedy, and more.
Hi.
Jane Leo, Daniel, Jane. So sorry, we were talking and apparently it wasn't recording. My apologies.
It was a warm-up.
Oh, it was a good one. But anyway, we talked about being on tour, playing for these great crowds, and I won't make you re-say all those things again.
It's okay.
But did you get that? Did you get all of it?
I did record a shitload.
That's fine. Yeah, y'all can release that however you want to. But anyway, yeah, so sorry about that. But we were talking about... just catch us back up on how you guys, you met 5 years ago, raising a family together, living together, and that's kind of how the project started. Was you said, bring me back in on the diaper story.
Oh, God.
That's the most ridiculous one.
Yeah. So
you tell it now.
Okay.
You tell it.
5.5 years ago, we had the same producer separately in our projects and knew of each other and had the opportunity to write together. And I think you even sent me here's some stuff, and I didn't respond because I was busy or whatever. And at the time, I was trying to make this music video that's pretty female empowering in my mind. And he popped in my mind. I'd seen some of, he's very like grandiose on stage, and I was like, oh, this guy could be the evil guy in my music video. So it was one of the few things in my life I did not overthink, and I just called him up, hey, do you want to do this? And I asked him to wear a diaper in this video, which is, yes, insane. And he said yes. And
it came with conditions. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll wear a diaper as long as I don't have to like, as if that was not like degrading enough. I was like, well, as long as I don't have to have like a pacifier or act like a baby. She's like, no, you need to do
She's
that
like,
too.
actually, that's going to be a big part of what
I
you're
was
doing
like-
in this.
I was like, let me think about it. Okay, sure.
Do y'all watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I've
No.
seen it.
Yeah. Have you seen the one where there's the guy they all get stuck watching a guy on cable access who,
I haven't seen that one.
oh my gosh. It's just like a weird side character, but he goes to the clubs dressed in a diaper
Oh.
and just dances just,
Wow.
6-7 hours, but he films it for cable access.
Okay, yeah.
It's a thing though. It's a whole world. Like that was again the first thing we did that. I wouldn't say that kicked off our relationship or our band or anything like that, but that was one of the first.
Sounds like it kind of did a
Yeah,
little.
a little bit. It was one of our first interactions, and
we made a music video together.
Well, when
Yeah.
someone sees you in a diaper, that's a very vulnerable, they've already learned a lot about you.
not only that, but then we put it out to the world, and there's a whole genre of diaper lovers.
we
that-
learned that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Is that why you,
No.
was that just like it happened to go that way?
I was very naive.
Jane's very innocent. Was very innocent.
Okay.
And then, but the woman who was like the set dresser, she was very into the diaper scene and brought like a multitude of diapers to choose from. And I was like, I don't, it doesn't matter to me. You pick. And she's like, well, there's the one with the Muppets or the one with the this or the one with the baby bottles. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I should be doing this
we
anymore.
should move past
We
this
should,
diaper
we should.
subject.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking
put
of
this behind us.
I'm just thinking of the woman you're speaking to. It's like she had to go out and find those.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
she
so it's
had-
like how.
she had them.
Yeah.
She didn't need,
Okay.
she was already, she like,
Oh, so it gets more interesting. then.
Yeah. We'll just,
This was already a hobby of hers.
yes.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
this is, so move on.
Yes, that's fine.
But isn't that? I mean, that's what's so great about the world right now is it doesn't matter what you're into. Like the internet has brought groups
All those people together, yeah.
Yeah, it's like all these people who felt like they were isolated because they had a
Yeah.
hobby that's
Totally.
out of the
And
norm.
I think
Sure.
that's pretty awesome that there's a safe space for people to find each other, you know.
That's true.
But the video got more plays than any video I'd ever done because
Wow.
that community found it.
Mhm.
And so that was really interesting. But
God.
yeah.
It's crazy. Like you just can't control what becomes popular.
No.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
It's like we talk about that a lot on this podcast with other artists because, so many people think about like, what should you do? And it's like, you
Right.
just got to do what you want because you can't control any of it.
100%.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that on the drive back from Houston last night. It does not matter whatsoever as long as you're making the art for yourself. And that's what we talked about. Our entire album making process was like my agenda for the whole album was not to even release anything. It was like, I want to make the album, like produce it myself, which I've never done from start to finish. With Leopold, we had producers, and I know same with Jane. She's in a similar situation. But we started recording at home, and it was like, well, maybe we can get someone to help produce the beats. And it was like, no, I want to take a shot at that. And we did it. Oh, maybe we can have someone help. Maybe we can record the vocals at a really nice studio. No, let's just buy a mic and do it ourselves. So it was like so liberating. And then as we started getting closer to the finish line on it, I was like, I'm okay if we just hang this piece of art in our living room and show it when friends come over. We'll play it for them on our radio or our stereo system. There's really, I don't want to be judged or beat down or tell on Pitchfork 1 star or something. I don't care about any of that shit. And I think that cultivated an absolutely beautiful album, album 1. And then after we started playing album 1 live, we realized let's dive even deeper into what makes us excited to get on stage, to talk to people about our music, to make videos, to do it all. And it's getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And we're just pushing each other. It's almost like a Marx Brothers skit half the time. We're just like trying to make each other laugh or break character in the vocal booth and stuff like that. And a lot of it will make the final cut. It's the best.
That's fun. That's got to be somewhat freeing to go. Because
unreal.
Like it sounds like at the beginning you're worried about the restrictions, and then you realize there's no restrictions.
There are none.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And just this day and age, the digital age, I mean, you can sample anything. You can sample a rock on the cement or a bug chirping, and it it's the sky's the limit, which is also like a catch-22 because like you can get stuck thinking like, oh, which cricket should I sample at what
Do we do
depth?
the morning crickets?
For
Yeah.
sure.
Crickets?
And
know?
then you're just stuck with nothing still. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, we've been really good on the second album of just like listening to each other's inspiration. If Jane's like, I'm hot on this track, let's just run with it. It's like, okay, even if nothing happens with it, let's just, bust it out, get it out of the way almost, and have a good time with it.
Do you think about how you're still so early in this band that
It's-
you're not even at a point where you can define kind of what it's doing?
It doesn't feel that way, but that's the truth of it
Yeah.
for sure. Because, again, 5 years in, that's like, I mean, most bands don't even get to the third year, fourth year, and we're already like where we actually have more than 2 albums done because we produced the Jano and Bryant album. We produced another Leopold record. So there's like during the past 5 years, like 4+ records have happened.
Okay. I guess it just doesn't feel that way as the listener because this album came out 2023,
No, 100%.
right?
Yeah.
So it feels like
Yeah.
Feels new.
they
yeah.
must have just wrote all this 6 months ago.
No,
you know?
Sure,
no.
for
That
sure.
I mean, like we said, Borderline was the first song we worked on together, and that's on that first album.
2018,
Yeah, but
right?
that was in 2018. So we've like been working a lot behind the scenes, and then obviously the world kind of took a little pause and everything.
I
So
was super grateful for COVID for that one reason because no one who took a break and dove into themselves and became introverted would have. You just don't take the time to do that for 2 years, especially. Like we're going to take these 2 years off and really focus on me. No one who can afford to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, especially, I mean, any kind of musician now, you're being told the opposite constantly. You're like, you got to have content. You got to
everything.
push
Yeah,
stuff
for
out.
sure.
Always something, always
In
something.
those 2 years, no one expected anything.
yeah, because we had not put anything out yet, so it was like this perfect time of okay, well, we've got like 4 or 5 songs done. We could put stuff out, but we're not going to, and we haven't even played a show yet, and we're gonna just keep diving. So
I go back and forth in my opinion on that. Like, I love albums that have like a collective feel. It's like I don't mind people releasing singles, but I love knowing it's on the way to the album.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Instead of just doing a single.
Sure,
Yeah,
single.
sure.
And so, it's like how many of those great records of past day, like you didn't hear from this band for years,
Right.
and then they just came out with something that
I
blew your
know.
mind.
It's
Yeah.
so
And it's the opposite thinking of now,
I
which
know.
is always be relevant. It's
Right.
like, I don't know. I think people need to breathe from you sometimes
Sure.
and get away from it. And then when you do come back, they're like, that's right.
Right.
They were incredible. I love that. But it depends on what day of the week it is. You could argue me one way or
yeah,
another.
Totally.
it also
Totally.
depends on like if you already have a fan base or not.
True.
that's true.
Because
Yeah.
like for Cannons, the band we're on tour with, was for them to like take 6 months and then come back and be like, here's our album. I mean, fans would be right there waiting. And for us, we're like still kind of screaming into the void a little bit. But
Yeah. Do you feel like it's that way already with y'all? Like if you did this year really hard and then you took a little bit of time off, it's almost like shooting yourself in the foot, or do you think it matters?
I think we're at like such a cool spot right now, and we have to keep it going. And I think with maybe, I could be wrong, but I think if we keep going a little bit, we'll get ourselves to the point. There's some sort of line, I think, that you can like, okay, we're past that threshold that there's people now that are going to be there. Whereas we can go do what we need to do and then come back. But I don't know. What's your take on that?
I mean, I think there is a race that we're now a part of, like a marathon type of thing where we just got invited to the field and we are in it and we're doing great. We're not the first place runner, but we're placing each time. And we watch tennis all the time and we see these, 20th place ranked individuals who are at every 250, 500, 1,000 point ATP match, and they might not be winning the cups or anything like that, but they still have really high ranking numbers because they're good enough and they have the durability and they want it bad enough where they keep going and keep going. They don't get paid very much, but they have the drive. And then after a couple of years, they're the next Carlos Alcaraz, who's absolutely number one. And just 2 years ago, he was nobody. Nobody ever heard of him, but he's still doing the thing. And then all of a sudden, he got his shot, took it. Now he's on top of the world, number 2.
And if he took 4 years off of tennis and came back, everyone would.
No doubt. If he stopped now, he'd be that much older, and
Yeah.
and the only way you can do that is one, if you get hurt, you burn out or anything like that. But there's ways to manage it. Like we don't drink I've been 12 years sober, so that is a huge conduit to being able to stay on my toes at all times. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I'm also 12 years sober, so it kind of linked in together. But those two things give me drive and give me sustainability to need to keep going. And I don't have time to be hungover, and we're in Dallas right now. I'd still be in New York if I drank there when I was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mentally speaking. But
Yeah.
so there's things you can do if you're training, again, for the Wimbledon finals. You don't take a pit stop over here. You just keep going, because again, if you remove yourself from that race, from that marathon, there's a good chance, maybe 50-50, you'll get invited back, or have the will to get off the couch and be a prize fighter again. It's like, so I don't even know where I'm going with it, but I just think that
I was thinking about what you just said about like, do you think you're at the point where you could, take some time off and then come back with a record or whatever? But this tour has taught me so much about the importance of context. And it's the first time that we've been on stages like this, in front of audiences like this. And it really, like, when people see you in that setting, then they start associating you with that setting. And like, we start associating ourselves with those kinds of environments and those kinds of crowds. And in reality, like 6 months ago, we were playing to like 50 people in small little rooms, and that was amazing that we brought 50 people to Hotel Vegas or whatever. So once we're in this, now that we're in this environment, I'm like, oh man, we just got here. We're brand new. We just got to the playing field, and people are just now seeing us, and it's working. That's the most beautiful part about it, is like when people see you in that environment and when it works, then you like have something. It's just getting that chance to be there is so hard. You know?
That's the key, right? Like, you can seize the moment. You just need a stage.
You just need a moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because now you've proven the music. People are receiving it and they're liking it, right? Like, you're played enough shows now where you're like, oh, if they hear it, they enjoy
They're
it.
gonna like it, yeah.
And now it's just a numbers game. Like, if you could get the 7 billion people in the world to hear it,
you're
going to have an amazing fan base.
It's just, how do you, and I don't think we've had that enough people to see it yet for to be like have staying power yet. I mean, we're going to keep going either way, so it's all good. It's just,
how do y'all try to approach it? Do y'all have a booker that helps get you on these tours, or is it all yourselves?
Right now it's ourselves. We're working on, that's our next goal, is an agent to put us in, put our fate in their hands. Not really, but assist with that type of thing.
Yeah, it's do you feel like it's a weird time for like labels, agents, bookers? Like, it's becoming a little more nebulous of like what these people do.
Well, one
in the
thing
industry.
is they're all afraid to leap first. They don't want to touch a
Afraid
band.
to lose money.
They look at a band like ours and say, well, they don't have a label.
and
well,
they only have like this many followers.
And
Or,
Right.
They don't
The
have,
followers thing kills
it's
me.
so weird, right?
Kills me, because it's like, imagine all the incredible music you'd miss out if it's like, do they already have a fan base?
Yeah.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
man, that's what we
That's what
need you for.
yeah.
We're trying to. We work on the music part.
Yeah.
I thought you could
Yeah.
help us with the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally have to hire a team to come with
Yeah.
us to get content,
Yeah.
and But I
Mhm.
mean, good thing they're friends, But some bands don't have that luxury. They just spend thousands and thousands of dollars on stuff that is subpar, just to boost from 5,000 to 18,000 or whatever.
nothing.
And what does it do? Again,
Yeah.
if the songs, we don't focus on the songs, the actual meat and potatoes, and like even our stage operation of what we're wearing and all the things. It's like highly cultivated. And if we don't have time for that stuff, we just come out there in our pajamas and terrible songs. It doesn't matter if we have 100,000 followers or not.
Well, and it's one thing to have 100,000 followers, right? But it's also another of how engaged are they,
Right.
And to just have a weird number and you did everything you could just to get a couple followers, it's like, that doesn't really matter. It's better in ways to have a smaller following that's super
Real
passionate.
people.
Yeah. And I don't know. So what do you guys think an agent or a label would bring to the table for you these days?
Agent is essential. I mean, that's actually a really good question, because I know a ton of people with agents who are still, the band members are still reaching out to other bands themselves saying like, hey, we really appreciate this and that. And but when you Cannons and Gary Clark's and what's that band? King Gizzard. Like, you have bands that are of that size, and the tours can book themselves. They just have someone orchestrating, like putting puzzle pieces together, saying like, this is where you'll be. And like all the venues are like, of course, come in, please give us your money.
We would love to sell all these drinks.
For sure. And keep a lot of the revenue and all this stuff. But anyways, so when you're at that level, you know, it's really fluid and much, I wouldn't say it's simpler, it's still hard work, but for someone like a band size like ours or an agent that's willing to work with someone like us, it's like, yeah, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves just as much as we are. You're going to have to roll the dice just as much as we are. And, I mean, who wants to do that anymore? You know, because they have the analytics and they think those are right and they think those are true. And like with Leopold, we had agents, multiple agents who saw it as like, oh, these guys are going to be great. And, but I mean, the band was great. The show was great. And our numbers were climbing. And they're like, oh, we'll roll the dice and then put us out in the middle of like nowhere and expect.
What do you mean the middle of nowhere?
Iowa, anywhere in Iowa.
Oh, literally, like geographically the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
And just be like, oh, yeah, I mean, but instead of partnering us with bands that made sense, like they brought 200 people, we brought 200 people, they just be like, oh, we'll put you guys out on a headline tour. And we're like, headline tour? Like, we don't know anyone in any, you know, Wisconsin or something like that, you know? And so they put us out, and it was just a money-losing scheme. We would just lose. But we would get tighter as a band, so there's silver lining to it all. But that being said, with this, we don't have the time or want or energy or anything. Like, like I said, I'd rather just hang that piece of art on our wall at home. We can know that we have a good show, know that when we play to 2,000 people, they lose their mind. But I refuse to go out there and, you know, do like a 15-person a night thing. I mean, I've done that for
especially
a decade.
at this point. It's like you got a kid, you got a house.
Sure,
it's like,
sure.
you don't, like, I think a lot of people when they don't have kids, you know, I have a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And so we're new to this still.
Sure.
But it's like, I never realized how much I didn't value my time before I had a kid.
I hear that.
Like when I used to think I was busy. And then now that we have a child, I realize like, oh, I had so much free time.
All the time.
And it's like now, you know, every hour of my day is, you know, I try to schedule as much as I can because it's so valuable.
Yes.
And that's not even including all the other endeavors. That's just trying to get your family time in,
Right,
you know?
right.
Talking about, you know, booking and agents and all that, to me it feels like, and you can, you know, weigh in and tell me if I'm wrong or right, but I feel like maybe there's a lack of people who desire to be really high-level background people. I feel like everybody wants to be in the limelight right now, and people are really underestimating, like, you know, your town used to have like a cool DJ or a cool booker or a great venue owner or something. Somebody who's never going to be like stardom, but it's so crucial to cultivating these things. And I think people just don't want to go into that who love music. It seems like it's mostly business mindset now. And music it's a terrible business, right? Like it's really hard to make a lot of money in music.
Yeah.
And most people that make a lot of money are the ones who take chances on the artistic side of it. But I don't think there's people who are willing to go like, I love that. That hits me right here. We're going to dump these resources into it. And if it fails, it fails. I can stand behind it. I mean, do y'all pick up on any of that at all? Or
Yeah, I don't know. I think we just live in such a fast-paced, kind of cheap society right now. And there's like, when you said like what you're talking about really reminds me of like a community and like people like coming together to bring culture and stuff to each other, and just the priorities are different, you know.
People want it so bad though. People want community more than ever.
They do.
I mean,
like what we want is still the same, but what we're like with our phones and everything right in front of our faces all the time, it's just like a little bit of a different.
That is
world,
interesting. Yeah,
you know?
you're right. It's like they all talk about they would like that,
Yeah.
and they're all there, but they're not doing it.
We're not doing it because we're just like this, and so we're not like looking at each other or looking like, well, how can we make this happen in the moment? What bands do we know? Whatever. How can we support each other in the real realm? Not,
that's like the industry mindset for sure. But again, like you get out of the community and these shows that are 1,000 to 5,000 people deep, they're not music minded or industry minded, and so they're at the show because a commercial told them, or they heard the song on a show or whatever it is. But they're all there, lined up, so excited. And Cannons brings out really good support acts, and they're doing their duty in that regard because they could bring whoever the label told them to. And they said, no, we want to bring people who we're comfortable around, who we like ourselves. We have to listen to their music every night. We want to appreciate it. So they put us up there, and everyone is losing their mind, and they come, and it is a community for one night, and they absolutely love it. And they huddle around us and want to take photos and want to stay in touch, and there's like, oh, I hope you guys come back so much. The thing is, I was like, we will come back to Dallas. We will come back to Houston. We'll come back to all these places. But are you going to even know? Like, if you're not told, like the McDonald's version of like, they're coming to town, here we are every day. Like, that's how the major labels are able to get people out. Just make sure the visibility is.
Do y'all play that game of buying ads and stuff now for your shows?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just organic as can be. And I mean,
it's tough though, because, it feels like every 3 or 4 months when you feel like you've got that algorithm figured out, it's started over again a different way. And it's like you just can't even get it's so hard to get your information to the people that want it,
It's true.
Yeah. All in all, though, it's, this tour, I think, has revitalized both of us and our belief in music and the fans and the people, why we do it. And, like, every night it's so rewarding to, like, see people's faces when we walk on and they have no idea who we are, and then see their faces when we're leaving, and then see the change that we all experienced together, that energetic, like, movement that just happened. We all feel better. I feel better. They feel better. I think, it's just
that's the community. They paid for the ticket. They showed up early. They didn't, I feel like there was a whole era of just show up when the headliner shows up. I'm going to get there. If they start at 10, I'll be there 10:05. And it's like, these guys are at the door. Like, doors are at 7, and we usually play at 8. By 7:30, wall to wall. I mean,
that's awesome.
There's barely any room in the clubs, and I haven't toured since pre-COVID, so maybe that's the norm now. I don't know, but like
it may be. I think people had a big realization through COVID that like music could go away forever.
It could.
That first year when you didn't know what was going to happen with live events, it's like, oh, is music only online now?
Yeah, I thought about it from a musician's perspective of how much I missed being on stage or whatever, having that moment, but I didn't even really think about it as a music lover, which I also am. I'm like, I want to be in the crowd next to a bunch of people experiencing this all together. That's like something, it's like a human experience that we all love,
I try to be real positive at the beginning, like when people were doing Zoom shows or whatever, and it was like after you saw a few, you're like, I hate every bit of this. Like, this is so hard. This is so the opposite of what I want music to be. Yeah. So I think now that it's come back, people realize like, I've got to go see it, because I mean, it could go away again. Like, we don't know if
you never know,
something like that is going to come around again.
I mean, as outlandish as the first time around was, obviously things happen,
Yeah. And I'm sure, Austin being known for music like it is, I'm sure it's similar there to how we're lucky here in Dallas. We have a lot of venues. And I think people really took it for granted that you have multiple venues. Right. And there's so many of these towns that have like one spot.
Yeah, it's true.
And that in order for it to thrive, it's like you have to buy a ticket and go. Otherwise, they can't keep it. They can't keep it open. And then you can't get bands coming here anymore. And it's like, as great as it is to play, like you guys are doing House of Blues tonight, right? And it's like, as great as that venue is, it's like that venue won't exist without the smaller venues either, kind of helping to farm up bands to that stage.
That's true.
But I think people are finally realizing like it could all go away, so you got to support it.
Yeah.
And I think they're like, I mean, you remember when you were young and like before you even played music, how psyched you would be like if somebody was coming to town or a new album was coming out, like that feeling.
Yeah.
I think that's coming back.
I think so too. Yeah, that really excites me.
Yeah, like your vinyl that you're selling. Y'all are selling quite a bit of those, right?
Yeah, people, it's something about like holding it in your hands. It's like
exciting.
So exciting.
Opening it up, looking at the art, you know.
Taking it away from, like, taking something from it and being like, I'm going to now put this in my ears at home and remember this experience, Yeah, I think we're like on cloud 9 right now with this.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's going really well.
Yeah.
I feel really lucky. You guys are like one of the very few bands that I've ever been like, oh, they started a new thing. I wonder if that's going to be good. Where you see it from pretty close to the start, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there wondering like, is it going to catch? Is
Yeah.
it going to do anything? And now seeing, like when you guys are posting these sold out shows in areas, I'm like, oh my God, it's catching on. That's pretty incredible.
One show at a time, for sure. We just keep our fingers crossed that we keep the momentum going, After the tour, we're playing Austin City Limits Festival, which is really exciting, so that's...
You guys are going to do so well. I don't want to jinx you, but
I appreciate
that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're really excited. It's the perfect way to cap off this experience. But yeah, we're both like so eager, like, okay, so when's the next tour? Because it's just...
It definitely lit the fire for sure. I mean, it's always been burning, but it like really... For us collectively, it's like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, because I would imagine with you both being in different acts for so long, like it's easy to get burnt out.
It's so easy,
You know?
and it's easy. You're seeing the high right now. There's lows too, but it's really nice for me I was doing this all by myself. I mean, it's just you trying to get yourself out of a hole or get yourself motivated. That's hard. But when it's someone else that's like also equally depending on you getting yourself out of the hole, it's like, okay, we can do this, and it just pushes. I think we push each other to be better as people, as partners, as creatives, as artists. Just because it's not, we have everything to lose if we don't. So
when you're walking out on these bigger stages right now with a full crowd, do you like sit in the nervousness, or are you like, oh, here we go, we got them? Or like, are you confident? Like, here we go, we've got this audience in front of us. This is everything we wanted. Or are you like, oh God, we've got this audience in front of us?
No, I'm so excited.
All positivity.
I'm like, I'm standing back there. I get like a jittery feeling. I wouldn't say nerves, but I get like right before stage, like we go on, I'm like, just like, let's go do it.
It's like,
yes, it feels like drugs are throwing, like
that's awesome.
pumping through my
you
body.
know about drugs.
I don't know anything about drugs, but I would imagine
it feels like what
drugs.
you think drugs are.
Yeah. But
you ever seen that old meme where it's like that feeling when scissors are sliding across paper?
Yeah.
They're like, that's probably what heroin's like.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't know.
Wow.
But like as soon as we walk out and we start the song, then it's like, okay, it's just like almost like a game to me. Like, okay, how can I push myself? And this is the most consistently I've ever been able to play to audiences like this. And so I've seen our buddy Steve was in Seattle and Portland for the first 3 shows, and he took a bunch of videos, which were so awesome and like super helpful for socials. But I'm now seeing myself from those first 3 shows to videos of now. And it's like,
it's 3 weeks later.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks later of playing every night and like pushing the boundaries every night. And I can see like, wait, whoa, I'm like moving bigger than I thought. I can't tell that I am really on stage. I know every night I'm like trying to push myself. Like, how can I like connect here? How can I push this? How can I do a bigger move here? Like, I'm just like having a game with it in my mind. And it like, I saw a video back of myself today and I was like, whoa, that looks different than it did 3 weeks ago. But it's not a conscious choice. It's
It's just happening. Yeah. That's really cool. I love watching. You ever see any of those old videos with Prince, like doing rehearsals?
I would love to see that.
You got to go. If I can find a link, I'll send it to you. But he's doing rehearsals like way back in the day. I think he was already popular. He was already Prince, but he wasn't just this huge name like he became. And it's just showing them, pre-show somewhere, just rehearsing, and that's what he was going for. It's like he was trying to get everything like a little bit better. Like it was already really great, but he's like, it's got to be just a little better.
Yeah,
a little better.
Yeah.
And I could like. Have you thought about how big you can take it? Because you are a mighty stage presence for such a tiny person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this has really shown me, like, because this feels already like, whoa, this is bigger than I imagined. But now that I'm on here, I'm like, wait, can you imagine if we were headlining in these stages and we had this and we got to do this? And, my brain is already like, wow, how could I take it? What if there weren't all these other people's instruments on the stage and I could really run around,
Yeah, forget about that. You guys are always in front of something that's like backline, right?
Yeah, we're in front of 2 other bands backline. So like every show where it's an adjustment of like how big can my dance moves be? But so I'm like jumping into the pit and like doing what's like right in front of me. But I grew up as a dancer, and so
I was going to ask if you had a background in theater or dance.
Yeah,
or anything.
as a dancer, I'm already like, man, I wish I could go backstage and stage left, and but I can't because there's like all of these things in my way. But it's so exciting to daydream on, like, we have all these new songs we haven't played live yet too, and like what that's going to bring out of us when we it's just there's constantly things to explore. And
you have a lot of open ends of what you could do. That's it's going to be pretty interesting a year from now.
I know, right? I mean, a year ago right now, we didn't even have our album out, and like this year has been so exciting. So I just wanted to, when you were saying like we're on this kind of path and we can't get off of it right now. There's no stopping.
Now that I've only talked to you for a little bit, it's like, no, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
We need to. This is, again, we were just left the starting line. It's like we've been training for it for a long time.
But now we're actually running the marathon, and we actually have to get to a certain point to say that we did this.
We even want to claim bronze.
Yeah.
Bronze medal. We're on path. We just got to keep.
You got to keep going. Yeah.
Sure.
How did y'all decide to curate your images? Because y'all, even with Leopold, there's always been such a conscious effort of, how everything's portrayed.
Sure. I mean,
know?
what's really awesome about where I left off with Leopold was that, sorry, I'm just collecting
Mhm.
for a second. I mean, image is secondary to the music for sure, but it's so much fun
Mm-hmm.
when you can lean into it and create the person you want to become. It can be for better or worse, but
Mhm.
in both Leopold and especially in this, I mean, this is just a dream. This is a dream job. I'm literally with my significant other, pushing each other harder to like, okay, we have the songs that we killed each other over. Now let's destroy each other in a good way to build up this, so many times, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be?
Mhm.
And Jane would sit there and not say anything. And I get so frustrated because how many people ask you that in life? Who do you want to be? Not like, what do you change about yourself? No, I don't give a shit if you like snore or whatever the fuck it is. Whatever it is, no, like we all have faults. Like forget about the faults. Let's focus on virtues or dreams. A dancer and in theater growing up, like, do you still have aspirations for that? Okay, great. Like, do you want to be portrayed as like a woman who is like all flesh and your big hair or whatever?
Mhm.
Or what do you want to, no, Jane comes from a classy background, so she's not just gonna like wear like whatever the kids are wearing these days, But so we went with a Anne Margaret motif to start the whole
Oh.
vibe for Jane, and she leaned into that when we were watching a Elvis movie. It was Elvis and Anne Margaret. I think it's like Blue Hawaii or something like that. But that was the first light bulb that I saw go off over Jane's head. She's like, "That's the vibe I want." So we just leaned in super hard with that, with the one piece. What do you call those?
Leotard
Leotard.
thing,
But it was
Mhm.
like 60s did things cooler, So
Mhm.
we were on the hunt for that, and then Jane first wore that to a show, and she was so nervous, like, "Oh my God, I can't wear this on stage." I was like, "Then you have to. If you really think you can't, you have." And that was the Leopold mentality. It was like the boots that came up to my knees. I was like, I look like I'm like, I don't even know what this looks like. This looks psychotic though. And then I did it, and literally the thing that you do that scared you the most is what I would get.
Connects, yeah.
It connects the most. The
Yeah.
most
Mhm.
compliments come from the boots or the mustache or the whatever it was. And literally Jane's outfit, everyone was bowled over by it. Like, I can't believe you're wearing that. I'm going to go buy that. I'm going to like, Jane's inspiring. I mean, it's a small circle at the time, but people were like really excited to see someone doing it. So we just kept pushing. And you make a few errors
Mhm.
or a few things just don't resonate with yourself. And you say, that doesn't work for me. So let's just keep moving in the direction that does. But
But most people in the audience, when they see stuff like that, they want to be that bold. They don't have an
100%.
outlet for it.
Yeah,
100%.
So you
totally.
can't show up at the office in that.
No,
Sure.
no.
But they would want to wear that
It
stuff.
inspires them and makes, it's like when I see someone out there wearing something amazing, it makes me like, man, I want to feel like that,
Mhm.
because the clothes that you wear are really like a reflection of how you feel about yourself. And we kind of forgotten that as a society, and myself included. It's like, well, these sweatpants are how I feel about myself right now. But
But as entertainers, we
yeah.
have that stage, and so many don't take advantage of it. And so that's fine. Just makes us look that much more put together, which,
Mhm.
I mean, as humble as I can be, we're very well put together. Like, we get out of the van and we're ready to take the stage. And like,
Yeah. There's something to be said about that. It's like magicians who stick to the illusion all the time.
right.
I feel like it allows audiences to go, oh, these are the performers tonight.
exactly,
Just,
yeah. If you don't dress the part, then
Mhm.
it's kind of funny because we sell merch before we play the show, and I'm not wearing the full stage outfit, but the difference of how they look at me before the show and then afterwards when I'm in the whole get up, it's like, oh, you're the it's like the outfit you wear really embodies like who you're trying to
Yeah, that's
portray,
a great point. Yeah.
because otherwise I'm just the merch girl. I'm the girl selling merch, and they ask me where the bathroom is.
I've been learning a lot more from the show just about female dynamics and performances, and a lot of it comes from the female comics that I'll talk to. And it's like, I never realized, obviously because it's not my experience, but I really did, I guess, underappreciate how much easier it is for some women to be in their head about being on stage in front of people. Like that there really is a different scale of how people are judging and grading. Unconsciously even, like you're just, there's something about that, you know. And like one of the comics I was talking to, she was like, a lot of times I'll be the only female comic on the show, so I feel all this extra pressure because if I do a poor set, they're like, another not funny woman, you know, and and all of a sudden she's representing all female comics, you know. Do you ever feel anything like that with music?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, I went to school for music, and there was like kind of this like stigma of like, oh, you're just a singer, or like you're, you know, all those girls are. It was like more unusual at the time for women to like. There was like hardly any female engineers in the program or producers. Like they just kind of like, oh well, as a woman, I guess we'll just stick to these lanes that have already been paved, you know. And I'm so happy to see now that even like 10, 15 years later, like the same program I was in, there's so many female engineers and so many female producers. And it's like there's the boundaries are so like not there. But I definitely felt them when I was there. I felt like, oh, okay. Even for me to be like a songwriter and this and doing like, it was like I was more with the men doing that than there were other women.
Yeah, because it seems like not so long ago there was a time where they were like, and she plays guitar.
Exactly.
like somehow you're not able to. It's
like she wouldn't, you know.
Yeah, it's like she has hands.
Yeah, totally. But they don't say that to a guy.
Exactly.
You know, and so there was just like these like, you know, boundaries that it's like, just stay in the lines, and that's a safe space to be. But now I really think that that's not the case. I mean, like, so I've mentored a lot of young singer-songwriters, and they're all like producing themselves, and you know. It's totally like, well, of course, why wouldn't I?
Exactly.
Like, hell yeah. You know, I just wish I had felt like that 10 years ago. You know?
Gen Z has gotten me really excited about the future of a lot of things because like even with the fashion we were talking about earlier, it's like the amount of younger people I'll see wearing like bold outfits that like when we were in high school or something, you wouldn't even dream of because you'd be so worried about being made fun of.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they're just owning it.
I
and
know.
You're like, man, you guys seem like you might be kind of a cool generation.
Yeah, totally. I see that.
Confidence level for sure, right?
Yeah, they all have a lot of. I mean, most of them, it appears they have a very high self-value. Like, why wouldn't I do this?
Totally. It's like they're not worrying so much about what other people think. And I was, and still am in many ways, like plagued by that.
Yeah.
And there's just...
I think that's like one benefit of the social media. Like you were saying when we were talking about the video, like those people have a home now that they can relate to. When you go to high school, back when we were all in high school and middle school, that's it. Those were the people who judged you. They were the ones that said, that outfit is terrible. Where if I was wearing a cape to school every day and then now I go home and I join my little cape group online. Oh, yeah, capes are the best. Who cares what anyone says then? Do you have support? It's like there's a whole other demographic that is not. So, I mean, maybe social medias and all that aren't the worst thing in the world for people that are shyer or you know.
Well, I don't know. You have a 12-year-old. It's like they were raised with it. I mean, not by it, but like it's always been in their life since they've been alive, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like maybe it's just because we were the first generation that it was presented to us. We didn't know what to do with it. But does your 12-year-old even care about social media?
It's no, not like apps like Instagram or anything.
Yeah, I feel like they're over it.
Those are outlawed anyways. But like I wouldn't say outlawed. They just haven't even become an issue whatsoever. Just like she was raised when she was born, like at the inception of Instagram, kind of, and 12 years of any social media is at the death of it, right? Well, what even is MySpace? Or what was before MySpace?
Oh man, I don't know what was before
MySpace
like anymore.
That orange one?
Zanga.
What?
Zanga. I don't know that one.
I don't even know
before
that one.
MySpace, for me, it would have just been like AOL chat rooms or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I lucked out. I mean, there's going to be a million other things that pop up when she's 15 and everything, but
she has a level of confidence that I didn't. I mean, she has the normal, like, I'm a young girl kind of like pressures and things, but like she's very confident in the way that she's like, no, this is what I think, and I'm going to say it.
It's true.
And I don't know if that's like her generation or she was just born that way or whatever, but like her, like she has no fear in stating like something that maybe somebody would disagree with or whatever. And it's so powerful to me to see like a young girl already having that level of autonomy, you know, with herself.
Yeah, she has such a analog group of people, and I mean, off of online, she is, I think, one of the most blessed people I've ever watched in my life. I mean, being her dad aside, like
Mhm.
she has such a amazing community aside from her parents, like that, you know, all her grandparents live in the same city now, which is, you know, going back to like the community aspect. We've built this community around her, whether it be partially intentional or just everyone is, you know, she's a magnet, and we all
Everyone wants to be
gravitate
around
to it.
her,
For
yeah.
real,
Mm.
she's got something about her that, again, being her dad aside, because sometimes I'm just like, I don't know how you have so many friends. I have like 6 friends total, and she literally has like 100, and she's 12. You know, and
Yeah.
these people would die for her, and like fly here from other countries for her, and it's like, can I borrow a cup of sugar? Like, get out of here, Ava's dad. Beat it. I'm here for Ava. Not really, but
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know
So
what you
it's
mean.
like she has this level of confidence because she was raised by this community, and I don't know what to. So, and this is a tangent, but that aside, like I'm not worried about social medias with her because she was raised right. She has her feet on the ground,
Mhm.
and I think that's the big disconnect. Is like you said, raised by iPad or raised by social media, which so many people and so many kids are. Even adults are still in that vulnerable space with apps or in social
Mhm.
medias where they don't go to clubs and see shows, or when they do, they just sit in the corner and they're really awkward, and that's fine. But you know, it's definitely a different world than we all grew up in.
Mhm.
We also have 17 people in this room with us right now, by the way. Just wanted to put that out there. So when I say we, I mean
Yeah,
all
there's
of
more
us.
than
Yeah.
Do you present music to your daughter? Like my son's 3, and I want him to love music so much,
Yeah.
but I feel like I know if I push it on him,
Right.
he's not going to care.
He's gonna find some kind of music regardless.
Yeah.
So
But were you showing her stuff, or were you like, this is a guitar, this is an instrument,
I mean, well,
or like you letting her
we-
find it herself?
our entire house is instruments,
Mhm.
and same with her mother's house. Her mother's a musician as well, and her mother's husband is a musician, and it's like everywhere. And her grandmother's a musician. I mean, everywhere she looks, it's music. So no one's pushed it on her because I do not wish her that burden to become a musician whatsoever. Like I want her to do anything besides that. But if she came to me and said, and she does, she'd be like, that's a cool guitar, Dad. I'm like, oh, here's the E chord or here's A, and then she plays it, and she's, you know, you get that magical feeling of like music moving through you. Or
Mhm.
Jane will show her something on the piano, and she's like the quickest learner. I'm just bragging about my daughter this whole show, but I mean, it's really, you know, 12 is yours is 3
He's
right
3,
now.
yeah.
When it gets to like 6, 7, and on, it's like the best day of your life every day.
Right now, it's the worst day of our life.
I know. I remember those years.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's like, and he will only do one tiny sweet thing every day to
Right.
redeem himself,
Sure.
and the rest of
That
it is,
keeps you going,
oh my
yeah.
God, it's terrible. Like the meanest little kid
No
out of
doubt.
nowhere. And it's like, it's all very wholesome insults. Like there was one day I was trying to get him to do something he's supposed to do, and he just looks at me and he goes, "No, because you're not my best friend."
Oh, okay.
It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like,
Thanks, kid.
it cut me deep, man.
No
what do you?
doubt.
And it's like you're trying
You
to
have
hold.
other best friends.
Yeah,
You
you're
have
you're
other
trying to
dads?
hold it together, but really you're like,
Who's your best friend? Jeff the dog? Get out of here, buddy. Like, what are you,
oh man. And then
he hasn't even left the house yet. Who's his best friend?
yeah. You don't know people.
Probably
Yeah.
his
You know
mom.
my people.
Yeah, exactly. Your people are my people.
Yeah, just little things like that. And you're
Yeah.
like, where in it's been wild how much he comes like pre-programmed with his
Oh,
personality.
of course. Right.
You know, I thought it was all going to be like nature nurture kind of,
Right,
you know,
right.
and then you're just like, I didn't teach him any of that. I don't know where he got
Yeah.
that, you know, and
Wild.
it's wild. It's wild. Like it's its own little human somehow.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's true. It's scary and true
Mhm.
at the same time.
So what is she into then?
She loves reading. Any book you put in front of her, she'll give it a shot and finish it. And yeah, that was a terrible book, but I did it. But she loves school. I don't know. I don't know how she. Again, I thought it would be like, hey, look at these instruments, or look at this cool. Like we love tennis. We love playing tennis with her. She's really good at tennis.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't like tennis. You know what I mean? Like, she likes the interaction, and she loves that
Yeah.
we're all spending time together. And she's really. She only played for just under 2 years, and she'll play against other kids, and it's ridiculous because how she's keeping up, because she barely had lessons and
Yeah.
just very coordinated at those type of things. And so it's, you know, she's very good at tennis, she's not into it. She loves school. I hated school. I still hate school. I wake up in the middle of the night still. I'm 42 years old. I wake up with like, oh my God, I didn't turn in my homework in 7th grade. And like, who am I going to beat up and steal their homework? That's like, this is like situations, you know, but she's like, okay, I have to be school. The bell rings at 9. So I have to be there at 8:51 because I have to walk to my locker and I have to do this and my hair.
Regimented.
It's unreal. But I think that comes from both her, all her parental guidances are like the opposite of regiment. You know, we're all just like, yeah, we'll just rehearse after dinner. We'll just kind of do. But you feel like it's 10 p.m. You want to go for dinner? She's like, I'm supposed to be in bed 2 hours ago. Like,
That's hilarious. That's her rebellion is like,
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
going to be very organized.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Yeah, there was some comic a long time ago who was talking about like, if you want your kid to be like really cool and be like an artist or something, they're like, no matter how, you know, liberal and free you are at the moment, they're like, the moment you have a kid, you need to tighten up.
Tighten
and they're like,
up
be
shit.
as like conservative and as like hard pressure. And they're like, when the kid slams the door in your face one day and you hear them through the door call you an asshole, you'll be like, you did your job. Like, they're going to be pretty cool. And they're like, you got to put on this act for like 18 years.
Sure, I hear that.
And then once they get in their 20s, you can be like, it was all a ruse.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm really go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's a
But she's
good
doing the
point.
opposite. It's like there's instruments, you got musicians going on tour in the house, and she's like,
Seriously.
I just really want to learn more about 401ks
Yeah.
and make sure we're comfortable. And like,
No joke. Like, she will be doing our taxes probably next year. I mean,
That's hilarious.
She's that into things like that. And
see, I hated school too. Like, I did the very least to get by.
yeah, same.
And then it's like when I got in my 20s, like one of my favorite hobbies is anything involving, you know, like space and astrophysics. I love learning anything about that. And it's all heavy science, heavy math to really, truly understand it. So now, you know, I'm thinking like, oh God, like what could I be understanding about all this had I paid attention to any of that? And so I want him to have, like, I want him to be this perfect meld of like someone who has a great science background, is super artistic, and is somewhat athletic.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know how realistic that is. But
It's
it's
tough to say.
yeah, it's and the reality is like he's gonna do whatever he wants to do.
100%.
That's it.
That's it. You know,
Yeah,
that-
I think that's the hardest part, knowing you could do everything right and it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're going to be who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When did tennis come into play?
about 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Just randomly?
I would say, when I say athletic, I mean we attend the gym a lot and are very
Y'all
active.
are both in shape, yeah.
For sure. Super active. And
Daniel doesn't do anything
no,
casually.
nothing's casual.
So we started playing tennis like terribly just for fun,
Well,
but then
the
it
thing
turned
is,
into like a
in the
whole
house
thing.
for the child, there's barely rules, but the one rule is you have to play a sport. Again, like going back to screens and social medias and everything, like that's taking over all of society. So it's a very, very low bar that she needs to meet. Any sport you want, literally anything. It could be hacky sacking. I don't give a shit. Whatever, just something
Just physical movement.
outside
Yeah.
doing it. And she tried basketball. And she was like, "Oh, it's okay." And then soccer, it's okay. Swimming, okay. Well, I don't care. We can go down any sport. We're gonna try it.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to tennis, and it's kind of a solo sport, but you know, you're on your side of the net, the other people on the other side. So she doesn't have to like. She's very interactive and very social, but she's also like self. She figures everything out on her own. She's very reliant on herself, only child type of thing, and she started doing really well. So that just gave me the green light. We're doing this thing, and like
So now he's tennis dad.
No.
Now it's tennis.
2 years of
Now he's
tennis.
got a
and-
tracksuit on.
That's right. I'm ready. We can go play right now.
We have tennis courts right by our house, and I keep begging my wife to go out there with me because I've never played, and
It's a good time.
I refuse to play pickleball.
This guy over here is
pickleball,
That's the- oh my
Yeah,
no.
no.
He's tennis master.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I can't get in with
We're
pickleball.
anti-
No, we can't
Play
do that,
tennis
yeah.
or don't.
We're
Yeah.
anti pickleball.
Yeah, we
Okay,
don't like
good.
we don't like pickleball. We've been on tour. Tennis has been really great because you realize you're like in the van the whole day or in the venue all day. You don't even see the sun at any point. So on like days off, we're like, let's find a tennis court, and it's like the best because
And
there's
we
sunshine.
kick the shit out of all the pickleball players.
Yeah.
And then
Well-
we take over the court, and then
The other day in DC, there was no court open, so we were like on the pickleball court, and both of us were like, "What is this?
What are we
This is-
doing?
Yeah, this is so stupid. This is small. I don't get it. You know?
You're like, I have to hit it so soft.
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a really good time. But again, yeah, Steve lives down the block from us in Lockhart, Texas, just south of Austin, and when we were getting into it, he'd stop in and really show us how to play. Because we were idiots. We're just chasing balls for hours, and he's coming in and showing us what to actually do.
Oh, so you're the sleeper. You're the guy that no one expects to play.
That's
for
right,
sure.
yeah.
And then you're like, if you want to put a little money on it,
Right?
we can do that.
The hustler, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just the best. It's full body exercise in the sunshine, and I mean, I'll stay out there for 4 hours, 5 hours a day. These guys are like, after 40 minutes, they're like, "Is this enough? Can we go home?" And I'm like,
"It's like 110 degrees outside," and he's like,
"Yeah, it was a brutal summer to pick up tennis out there really hard."
Yeah, this is our second summer with it too. And
yeah. Are you just doing random pickup games with other people that are there, or
it's mostly just us?
Yeah.
And whoever will be dumb enough to play with us, we're just goofballs out there. So again, just like everything else. Oh, we want to be in a band, just us. Oh, you want to cook dinner, just us. It's like everything we do. It's that we're not gonna. Again, we live 20 miles south of Austin, so even to have friends come from Austin, it's like, yeah, drive down. Well, we have friends. We don't like them that much. We just want to play tennis with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we've definitely. My wife and I, we've been married 5 years. And it's like we definitely have gotten like we want to go to whatever the function is for a set amount of time, and then we are gone.
No
it's
doubt.
like I back out of there, back home, and it's like we want to be really adventurous within a certain time frame.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But that's fascinating to hear about telling her to do sports because I want my kid to do sports so bad.
Yeah,
I can't decide if I want to push him towards team sports or individual sports. I played basketball all through high school. I played soccer before that, and I don't know. There's just something so valuable about learning how to be competitive.
Totally. It gives you life skills forever. It's not. You're not saying you have to be a professional golfer for the rest of your life in anything or whatever it is. But we have some friends who, with their boys, they say you have to play an instrument and you have to play a sport. We don't care what they are, but you have to do both of those things. And then that's cool because the kid still has some freedom of like, I get to choose which instrument or I get to choose which sport. But I know I'm required to do.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. The
arts and the athletic, just giving you like basic skills that you're going to use for the rest of your life. You know?
Yeah. I have a friend who we started running marathons. That's what we wanted to do. So another friend who was like, they want to do it, but they never played any sports. They don't have any of that kind of competitive thing, and you can see they're just stuck in their mind. They don't realize it's like. You're healthy enough to do this. Just train and do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm more unhealthy than them. And then I've done 4 marathons at this point.
Yeah.
And they've done 0.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why I want them to do sports so badly. It's just like,
you have to get
to
past
know,
those,
like, it's just here most of the time.
Everything is mental. And you learn that so much in learning an instrument and in playing a sport, learning how to work with others, learning how to like be self-disciplined, whatever it is. Like, the arts open up a whole side of your brain and so does sports. So it's like,
The only thing I'm terrified of is I don't want him to play football and I don't want him to play baseball.
Maybe you
I have
put some
no desire to
boundaries on
sit
it.
at those games.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care about the concussions. It's like, I don't want to sit around a bunch of football parents.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
that's the hardest part of the sports world is hanging with the parents. That's the hardest part of school now too, because again, like so many people had such great childhoods in school and sports, and then I'll go and they just want to chomp on hot dogs and talk shit. I'm just like, I cannot. Like, I'm about to go play ACL, y'all. See you.
Well, I was gonna ask you. It's like even just
too
doing
good for
what
that.
a jerk.
Yeah,
No, it's not too good. It's not too good. It's just we don't share common interests outside of the child at the school, and and hey, I can talk to him 30 seconds. I'm a 30-second talker. Okay, good. Glad everyone's doing well. I gotta go.
I've
to
learned
play ACL.
No, just from doing this show, I've learned that like my tolerance for small talk has really changed because it's like, are we really doing the weather right now?
No
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
It's like, I know you got something more interesting going on in your life.
Yeah.
It's like,
Let's get to it.
yeah, tell me about how you haven't talked to your dad in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on there.
Yeah.
Like, give me something here, you know? And the average person has a hard time getting past pleasantries.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're all just people. Just talk about it.
Yeah.
Whatever
What's actually going on?
Yeah. And it's like,
What are they going to report though? Oh, today online. You know what I saw on Instagram? You know what I saw on the same shit. We're all seeing the same shit.
but see, that's why I like talking to people though, because like I'll just randomly talk to somebody.
For
You know,
sure.
if we're at a thing, it's like one of the recent people I talked to. They were talking about how somehow we figured out that they had some daddy issues. And they felt like that was most likely one of the reasons they were lesbian, because they believe their dad might be Scottie Pippen because their mom had an affair with a lot of different NBA players when she was younger.
Whoa.
And she's not sure who knocked her up.
That's a cool convo.
Wow.
And it's like, oh, yeah, that's way better than the thunderstorm
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
rolling in.
Yeah, let's deep dive that.
Let's get on that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, we all see the same headlines. We all see the same weather stuff. So yeah, it is difficult to get past that first 10 minutes of whatever.
How quickly does it come up with parents that you're in a band?
Oh, with the other parents?
Yeah. Does it get to fly under the radar? Or?
Yeah, I never talk about it
That's
ever,
nice.
ever. And then so she just graduated from 5th grade into 6th, and there's so many parents that are like, I didn't even know you were a musician. I was like, perfect.
You're like, shh.
But you just thought I was a weirdo showing up in mustache and suspenders and high waisted pants and shit. And the people, okay, that's cool. But yeah, I just thought you were a weirdo. Okay, cool. Well, stays the same. We don't need to talk.
What's the go-to question? Because that's hard for them to grasp, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, in Austin,
Not really
it's
in
definitely
Austin, yeah.
it's definitely a popular thing, and a lot of my daughter's friends' parents are also full-time musicians as well. So those are the parents. It's just like cliquey as well. We all just find ourselves standing on the outskirts with our hands crossed and talking about, not really anything, just the weather and stuff.
Yeah. What do y'all think about all the changes that have been going on in Austin?
We moved. We left. I mean, Austin's, it's cool. I'm not from there, though.
Oh, you're not? Where are you from?
I'm from Detroit. Jane's born and raised in Austin,
Yeah.
though, so she's got more to say about that.
Yeah, but I was living in my little bubble of the suburbs my whole life, and then when I came back after college, it was around 2013, 14, and just the growth that I've seen as an adult there is wild in the last 10 years. But there's a lot that I like about it, but a lot that I'm it's not really affordable, and it's kind of lost a lot of its weird, cool quirkiness.
Do you think it's going to be able to stay the artistic place that it was, the way it's going?
Well, there's some good things. There's definitely people fighting for that. That we have free health insurance as musicians there. We have
You have free health insurance as musicians?
Yeah.
How does that work?
They have this program called HAM.
Today's Ham Day, too.
Is it? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, shout out to HAM.
Ham Day.
Yeah.
All right.
Health
It's like-
Alliance for
it
Austin
is.
musicians, and it's they started this, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or something, but you apply and prove that you're a musician in Austin, and you can literally get, and it's not just health insurance. They have eye exams and hearing
Dental.
tests and dental stuff that every year that they give you. And both of us have HAM, and I've had it for years, and it's
Wow.
massive blessing.
Is
So-
it actually good insurance, too?
Great.
You don't
Yeah.
feel like you're getting the bottom of the barrel?
No,
I mean, it's not top of the line, but I
Sure.
pay
It-
$0
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
insurance, and
It's
it's
100% top of the line.
Yeah,
My
that's true,
daughter
yeah.
had a situation where she was in the hospital for a week, and they covered the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
See, that's incredible to me
Yeah.
because I'm so, I would love universal health care in our country.
Yeah.
And it's you'll see it done on these small levels like that.
yeah.
for sure.
And it's so it can be done.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And they also have different grants that they're raising for local musicians and stuff. So they're definitely there's people out there fighting for the culture to stay relevant there. And I really appreciate those people. And they've been around Austin for a long time. And there's people always say there's old Austin, and that is old Austin to me is the people that have been supporting the arts there forever, and they still are. And there's still fans like that. There's these just amazing Austin fans that are at every show. It doesn't matter if you've played 4 or 5 times that month; they're at every show, and they just love music, and they have multiple local musicians that they do that for every month, and it's just a whole culture. So
We're right at the crossroads right now,
Yeah.
for sure, of the old and the new. We're probably tipping to the new side right now. But
Well, what's the new side look like?
I mean, just everyone inundating it from everywhere else in the world, and
it's just more sleek and
it's all new. Everything's brand new. And when I moved there 12 years ago, everything was old. I mean, the east side was falling apart. So I guess maybe in that regard, it's new growth. But at the same time, we were just in New York City or even Boston, and there's so much heritage and pride in
the buildings.
the people that are there. They're from Boston. You know exactly from their accent, just the way they look, the way they walk is New York walk, the Boston walk, East Coast thing. And Austin, with that, the new means the identity is barely even there because it is in New York, it's in California, it's a melting pot, but it's too new to have melted yet. It's like all the ingredients.
Yeah, we're waiting
there.
to see how it's going to turn out.
For
Yeah.
sure,
Mhm.
for sure. It's like the roux has not been bubbling yet. I'm sorry, that's a bad analogy. The roux is like the base. So the base is there. We just added the ingredients and we're waiting for them to marinate and speak to each other, but they're all just kind of like expecting. I mean, I'm one to talk. I've been there 12 years and I still can't get a good plate of pasta. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. So like I'm expecting. I want an Italian restaurant that's just like New York. That's just
we
like
literally cannot get through any conversation.
no. I mean, let's be real. Though. I mean, it's like
What you were telling me?
We made it an hour and something minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you were telling me before we started recording that like you're big on food reviews and you do food reviews and stuff.
Well,
so.
here's the thing. Like I noticed because I start Yelping the second we get out on the road.
If you want something entertaining, follow.
Really?
Daniel on Yelp.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I'm not
hilarious.
promoting it or anything, but
But you probably should. It's really entertaining.
For the whole time I'm in Texas, I notice all the reviews are like 1 star, 2 star, 2 star, 1 star. And if I'm just very vulnerable and real excited about a cup of coffee, I'll give it a 3 star. The second I get out of Texas, it's 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star. Everything. This is the best tasting anything.
Well, what's making it so much better?
What's making it better out of it?
Yeah.
I mean, I can. This is a whole other podcast. We need
Go ahead, man. I'm on your schedule. What time do y'all have to get out of
we
here?
actually have to go to sound check, but
Okay,
just for
yeah.
this, I'll dive into this a little bit. The thing, my theory is that where you're born, your surroundings develop your taste buds, and within your DNA, that's passed down. Like your parents have always, like I'm from Detroit, they grew up eating in Detroit, and my grandparents grew up eating in Detroit. So like they cook food that's like what they're inspired by the surroundings. And in Texas, I just think everything's been like, if you think about how food was preserved maybe 100 years ago, there was no refrigeration. There was, everything was overly salted. Like, think about like Oregon Trail style, like literally like meats that are just like preserved. What was that book we read? Grapes of Wrath type of thing. Like, kill the pig and they salt it and eat it for months. And that to me is where the Texan taste bud developed from, down to now where everything is still over salted. Everything is very like, I'm trying to be really nice. I'm biting my tongue, but it's like just very there's not a lot of depth to the food. Where we were just in New York and just a simple plate of linguine and clams. My mouth is watering. I'm so excited to be talking about this. One bite, the amount of layers and emotions that I feel when I eat that is, I could cry over a good plate.
It's like the food critic in Ratatouille.
100%.
When he has the flashback
For
from
sure.
eating that
And
one bite,
Yeah.
back to his mom making the pot.
I talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
I reference that movie all the time. People probably think I'm nuts when I'm in New York crying and talking about rats, but like they, I'm serious. Like I can go down a list, and I often do, like the layers of goodness and ingredients I can taste in something that's like a family recipe that's in a restaurant. Like you're in a restaurant that's 60 years old and they're still cooking it the way that they opened it. It's a big difference than you go out in Austin and they just opened it and they marketed. The marketing is impeccable. I mean, like the best Instagram page and Yelp page that you've ever
The
seen.
decor
and,
is like so Instagrammable.
And the vibe is really cool. There's like waterfalls and rainbows and unicorns and shit. But then you take one bite and you're like, get me the fuck out of here. I want to go home. But
we have the same problem in Dallas, and my wife gets mad at me because it's like we'll find the spots. I find the spots I like, and that's where I go.
Of course.
And she tries the new spots, and it's like, yeah, everything's perfect about this place except for the service and the food.
Yeah.
But it's all beautiful. It's
Yeah.
all wonderful. But
Yeah.
it's poor service, and it doesn't taste that great.
Buy a candle, sit at home. You're all right. Cook food. But again, I'm so open-minded, though, that I constantly go out hoping that it's changed. Because there is so many, new cuisines popping up or people moving here trying to start fresh, which is great. I mean, think about when everyone came over on the boat from Italy. They had to start somewhere. They opened up their shops, and they had to get a start. And did it taste like the food from Italy? No, because this is a new place, new waters, new airs, new everything. So I get it. There's one place in Dripping Springs, Texas, that makes this bread. They just moved here from San Francisco, and it's it's amazing. And like there are places like that. I'm talking about like I'll leave 5-star reviews every day for the place, and just be like so excited about it. But it's so
You're doing all this on Yelp?
yeah.
When are you going to start like your column?
You really should. I mean,
Dude,
it's going to catch on.
Do a Substack. It's free.
I'm chipping away at it now.
He's an elite on Yelp now.
Yeah.
What does that mean to be an elite?
I don't really know.
You have to be like invited and you're given a badge. And then
How many reviews to be an elite?
I'm not sure because I don't even have that many. I have like 30 maybe. But But the thing is though, is that they're very detailed and long. And
they're like poetic.
Did you watch the South Park episode about Yelp?
No.
Buddy, I'm going to send you something that's going to make you laugh really hard. But that's
he's been yelping through the tour. So like he only yelps if it's like amazing or if it's treacherous. And
gotcha.
If it's treacherous, he's going to let you know.
I gave a 3-star review on this tour. Oh no, I gave a 3-star review, and it it was just
sandwich shop.
No, I gave that a 1-star. Fuck that place. There's like it was like marketed as, this was in DC, and it was marketed as like a real Italian deli. So we walk our asses over there. It's like 90 degrees out there. I'm wearing this fucking tracksuit, and we get there. And so the day before, we ate in New Jersey, Union City, New Jersey, and just on the way to Philly, and got a sausage and pepper sandwich on the roll, and stopped me in my tracks where I had to order another sandwich before we even left. It was prosciutto, mozzarella, and I just said to the guy, take the wheel and do whatever you want to it. Make it your sandwich. And he put the roasted red peppers on it with prosciutto, mozzarella, olive oil, and a little lettuce on the roll. And I didn't eat it for about 5 hours, and it all just sat and turned into perfection, And so then the next day, I was like, oh yeah, I'm on an Italian deli kick. Let's, we're still on the East Coast. Let's find something. Let's do it. Hit it before we can't. We walk into this place, and I should have known. Well, so the first place in Union City, New Jersey, every single person's Italian and speaking Italian, and the old ladies that's walking in don't even speak English. And that, I think, was the whole experience of like, wow, okay, this is great. Then the next place, no, it was just like college kids working there.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wait a second here. And then so we ordered, and I was like, what is your favorite? And the kid told me, and I ordered it, and it was 100% Quiznos. 100% Italian Quiznos. And so I gave them a 1-star. And that's the guy who reached out. And he's like, excuse me, sir. You gave us a bad review. What sandwich did you eat? And I just wrote back and said, instead of focusing on your online presence, focus on your sandwich making. And, we won't have a problem here. And he didn't write back. But anyways.
You know what? He can either take the criticism
for sure
and do better, or he'll keep doing his thing. But yeah, man, it sounds like you got a whole nother things going here.
I think so. I think it's going to be a side hustle.
Listen, on the next tour.
Yeah.
So after this tour, how long until you release the next album, you think?
We're doing, I know we talked about anti-singles, but the album's actually done. We're just like putting the singles out.
It's all going to be on an album.
Yeah. Which is TBD as far as the date goes, because I think we're just kind of basing it around how the momentum keeps revealing itself. Like, we released a song because of this tour, and then we'll release another song probably right after ACL, just because, the big wave, and then here you go with the video and the whole thing. But
you got to start doing, Jane Leo or Daniel's food reviews, however you're going to do it, in combination with your next tour.
I agree. That's a good idea. We could make a whole TikTok or some shit.
Because it wouldn't even be hard. You already do it.
It's real.
You already enjoy doing it. It's not even a chore.
I do it for the love, though. Just like the music thing. I'm just like, listen, I'll do it for myself. And
but you really should read these reviews.
I'm going to read them.
Some are good. Some are bland. They're
good.
The worse the food is, the better, the funnier the review. I'll tell you.
I think the experience of you saying like all the stuff you just told me, like we were on this side, I wanted to try that, so we went to do it, and just doing it in real time, just getting some of those reactions. I think you'd have a lot of fun with it.
That's true.
And you can do it all with the phone. It's super easy. You don't have to like really do anything crazy with it.
That's true.
And it would just add a little extra life to the tour instead of just the grind of shows. And then the other fun side is like, we were talking about physical things. That's part of why you always loved a physical album, is because you learn so much more about the band. It's not this big mystery all the time. Mm-hmm. And I bet you, just like the diaper thing, it's like there's probably a ton of people where you're like, holy shit, they really love this sandwich thing.
Yeah. And we could get free sandwiches.
Dude.
I don't want free bad sandwiches.
No, free good sandwiches.
They would invite you. They'd be like, we heard you're coming through.
Yeah, so it made you the best.
Concert's great. The concert's fine, but we've got some food for you.
Maybe they'll cater each.
Dude.
Yeah, be like, we want you to leave us a good review, so we put our very best shit. And you won't leave a good review unless it's good.
But what if it's terrible?
Well,
then we have to eat terrible food in D.C. again.
We eat terrible food.
What did we eat that night, though? We went out
You
later.
just look. You just silently put your glasses on, and you just say, thank you very much. And you leave.
Next question.
You don't say anything bad.
Yeah.
Where did we eat that night?
And DC.
Because it was like amazing. We went from like the worst sandwiches in the world.
Oh no,
to,
no! The next day we ate at that place called Yellow
oh
Cafe.
my God! Seriously.
Just feel
oh
happy.
my
He
Yeah,
just
I
got.
know.
He's
I
really
know.
Oh my God.
like he did everything but like clutch his
Listen,
pearls. He's like, oh.
This place was so good. Shout out to Yellow Cafe. Please sponsor
Oh
us.
my God.
In DC. It was so good. It was like a Mediterranean Turkish kind of food.
Oh, okay.
In a cafe though, so you had like croissants and like coffees and you know like it
They
was
had
like
turmeric lattes.
oh so
that
good,
It tastes like a butter. I mean, it's so decadent and it
so
was
good.
amazing.
We ended up getting like our lunch meals, which I got like a falafel. You got this chicken shawarma thing,
yeah.
and then we also got olives that were so good, and then we ended up getting soft serve ice cream that had like olive oil and salt, and we had these coffees. The whole thing.
There was no tennis that day.
No, there was that morning.
before.
Yeah.
Okay, before. Okay.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, it was so good. Her parents were in town in D.C. They came to watch us play. The next day, we're like, "You're coming again. We're going back." And we went back, and I left another review, just like that's.
It was
I
just as good the
loved
second
it.
time.
I'll review it a third time right now. Actually, I'm
Shout
going
out to
back
Yellow
on-
Cafe.
Yeah, seriously.
You guys should maybe consider at some point in your life, as passionate as you are about this, being the liaisons of bringing those cuisines to your area. That way, you don't have to wonder like, how do we? Like you could facilitate.
wish.
You could just talk to these people and be like, we really need something like this in Texas.
We
Y'all ever
do.
thought about expanding down to this
Yeah.
area?
We've thought about. All of us in this room have talked about it extensively. Opening an Italian restaurant in Lockhart because it needs it so bad. But I'll go back to this whole DNA weird conspiracy shit I have in my head that I just think Texans oversalted taste buds would try it and be like, yeah, it's good.
You know
And
it's
just-
delicious, and they're just sending it back.
And they're
like,
just like, well, yeah, okay, but
But really, if you have that much salt all the time, then you have the threshold is there, and so like your taste buds don't react to something that's not
it's true.
there. You know what I mean?
I don't salt any of my food, and my wife is like, "Are you going to put something on that?"
Right.
All the time.
Yeah.
All
you
the time.
stop eating
You have
candy.
to like detox from that in order for your taste buds to like
No doubt.
like if you don't have sugar for 30 days and then you have fruit for the first time, it's like a whole experience. Whereas you had fruit after you ate 30 Oreos, it's not going to be an experience.
Yeah.
So how do you lend that experience to the Italian cuisine in Lockhart?
I
Saying
don't
like
know. I
nobody
don't know. We
eat
haven't
food
solved
for
this
30
yet.
days.
Before you come to our
Yeah,
restaurant, no
detox
salt,
right
no
there.
sugar. You've got to check in at the door. You're like,
Yeah.
when was the last time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not today. Go
Fill out
home.
this paperwork before you get our food.
Oh my gosh.
Saline test. You got to scratch your tongue and see how salty it is.
Yeah, man. Well, you got the rest of the tour to work on the name of your show, like Daniel Dines or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
And your favorite alliteration,
Yeah.
and get it out there.
I mean,
I'll work on it.
it is happening organically. I'm really normally the only witness that has to hear him bitch and complain about
Yeah, I
the
kind of
food,
like
you know?
that.
Okay. Well,
So you're already there. Just start
Yeah.
filming some of it, please.
Yeah.
That way we can see that. And then he was being very nice about tennis, but like I imagine he's broken a racket or two already. So get those moments for us too. I need to see him just throwing the
Yeah,
racket,
he's a very passionate
throwing the
person.
sandwich.
Yeah.
Like nothing's going right
Yeah.
today.
Most people already think I'm an asshole. You really need this? Like,
go and then, yeah.
this is on you as much as it's on me now.
That's
so,
true.
Well,
anyways,
there you go. Anyway, y'all got to get out of here and
Yeah.
go to sound check. Thank you so much for taking
Thank
time
you
out
for
while you're on
having us.
tour.
This was really
Thank you.
fun. And
And-
thank you again for that amazing article you
Oh,
wrote
of course,
about
yeah.
us.
Thanks. All right. Where's the best place people go to? Instagram, website? What do
Yeah.
y'all like people to do?
Instagram is great, Jane Leo Music. We're also on our website, janeleo.com. Those are
And this
Yeah.
will come out next week. How many more shows do you have?
the last show is September 30th in Oakland, and then we have ACL after that. So
Okay, so get
Yeah.
some tickets then.
Yeah.
Go sell it out.
yeah,
All right, thanks guys.
thank you.
thank you.
The I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.